What is up? What's going on, everybody? Let's talk about what happened this week in crypto. Go over some stories. Let's go over some stuff. Let's go over a quick recap of everything that happened this past week in the cryptocurrency market, guys. The first thing that's happened is Bitcoin. Everybody said has going on an absolute downturn since the ETFs have launched. We know that last week we had a ETF launch of all these big, huge ETFs that went on this stock exchange, and everybody was expecting this huge move to the upside, right? So everybody was expecting Bitcoin's going to get to 60 something $1,000. If you were watching this channel, told you guys that that may not be the case, guys. But let's go ahead and let's just look and see where Bitcoin is after this ETF launch and where we can kind of see where it fell from, right? So when we're looking at this, we're looking at the Bitcoin weekly chart, right? Because I think it's important that we have to zoom out in order to understand where we are right now, right? So let's go ahead, let's zoom out, guys. So this right here was when Bitcoin was like right around October 21st. Bitcoin was sitting at right around 65K, right? So you see that, right? You see this fall, right? This was the height of the bull run. This is the fall, right? So some people would argue that right around July 2022 is actually when the bull run started, right? I disagree with that because that was almost the low of Bitcoin, July 2022, right around November 2022, you started to see this uptick, right? Some people would argue that the bull run started probably right up in here. I would argue with that. I think the bull run started there for the people who invested there, but I don't necessarily think that that's the height of the bull run, right? But what do we got going on with Bitcoin, and why is Bitcoin at where it is, right? Like you look and you see that there's a tremendous line of support for Bitcoin right around this 29 to $32,000 range, man. These things just keep flowing on me, right? 29,000 to $31,000 range, right? There was this line of support that was being built for Bitcoin right up in here, right? And Bitcoin flew through that and continued on this uptrend, right? And never came back down to retest this support line, right? This is on very unlike cryptocurrency. Usually you come up, you come back down, you test that support, you bounce off that support, and then make another move to the upside, right? Bitcoin never tested the support line, right? So you have to figure that at some point that this thing was going to fall, right? So where's Bitcoin at now, right? Sitting right around $41,000, right? You get in here, it's sitting right around 41K. Um, and it's on its way back down. It's not going to surprise me if Bitcoin comes down and tests this $32,000 support line right here, given the fact that it didn't test it before. Given everything that we know right now, that would be the next logical move for Bitcoin. There's more at play. There's more at play with Bitcoin than that. So will it touch that 32,000? I have no idea. We have to wait and see how this thing plays out. We've never been in an ETF world, right? So let's see how this thing plays out. But one thing that we do know is zooming in on here is Bitcoin is definitely on a downturn on this weekly candle right here. So let's see how this thing plays out. But fundamentally speaking, just from a chart perspective, you would think that it's going to come down and touch this $32,000 mark support line and see if it can bounce off of that. May not happen, guys. But fundamentally speaking, I would not be surprised if that happens, right? So the ETFs did not give us what we thought, did not give people what they thought that they were going to get out of this Bitcoin run. Um, so definitely, guys, have to take this into consideration and have to understand kind of what these ETFs do. Is what you have is you have a whole bunch of big companies now, institutional investors that are now starting to sell a lot of Bitcoin on the market, right? You have Grayscale dumping Bitcoin on the market, right? And BlackRock and everybody else. Well, they need a return on their investment as well, right? So, they bought low. These guys were probably buying down in here, right? The 16,000 level. They spent a crap ton of money getting these ETFs out and rolling. So guess what? They're going to start taking some of this profit off the table, right? This is how this thing works, right? So they're going to start taking some of that profit off the table and understand that there's a constant flow with these ETFs of buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. It brings a tremendous amount of volume to the chart, but also brings institutional investment manipulation to this cryptocurrency, guys. So pay attention to this and understand that ETFs are probably coming next. So understand the run up to the ETFs, and then understand the profit taking scenarios that we're looking at right now in Bitcoin, and how that rolls itself out, guys. So, big news this week. Bitcoin takes a step back, but a expected step back in the market. So the next story that we have going on right now, guys, is the Coinbase versus SEC saga, right? So as you guys know, Coinbase and SEC are in court and they're digging it out, and they're trying to figure out whether or not a certain set of, I think it's 11 or 13 tokens fit underneath the securities exchange law. Very interesting case. I think that this case is going to be as big, if not bigger, than the Ripple case, because I believe that this case right here is going to set the stage for the rest of the centralized exchanges. And we're also getting into what is a security and what is a commodity, and where do these things fall, right? And the judge came to this case very prepared, very ready to go. She was the same judge that overseen the Uniswap case, where somebody brought a case against Uniswap. And she has some background, and she has some background in cryptocurrency. She came prepared with 14 pages of questions for both sides. She did not allow either side to prepare, do their opening statements that they had prepared. She wanted to jump right into her 14 pages of questions. This was very interesting. There was a couple of points during this hearing that were very telling. You have her asking whether or not, what's the difference between cryptocurrency and Beanie Babies and trading cards and things like that, and should these things fall under the collectibles law versus the securities commodities law. Very interesting line of questioning from her. But the bottom line here is, guys, my take from this case is, as a judge, there's certain cases that are you set precedent over, and certain ones that you want to leave some leeway in. And this is really one that she wants to leave some leeway in. I don't expect her to dismiss this case or grant the SEC a full win, or grant Coinbase a full win on this case. I do expect this case to go to the discovery phase, just because there is a very low bar for the SEC to accomplish here. It just has to accomplish that there's a possibility that these are securities, and not necessarily that they're securities. So I see this thing being drawn out into the discovery phase, which we know from the Ripple case can last a long time. So be prepared for that, but understand that this case is a very significant case in the cryptocurrency landscape, guys. So Coinbase is really fighting this case, not only for Coinbase, but they're fighting it for the whole cryptocurrency industry in general. So understand that, and also understand that this thing is going to be a long, drawn out process. And who better to fight this long, drawn out process than Coinbase, somebody who has the resources and the money to go ahead and take on the SEC. A lower tier exchange would never be able to hang in there and fight this case the way that Coinbase can. So good thing that Coinbase is fighting this case and not somebody else. But the other big news is Coinbase versus the SEC. The hearings were done. Everybody stated their sides, and now this is currently in a judge's hands. Expect about a week or so, maybe even 2 weeks, before we hear anything back from the judge on this particular case. The next bit of news that we have, guys, is actually a cryptocurrency in general, right? We have Myro. Myro absolutely took this week by storm, guys. Myro absolutely went on a monster run this week, guys. It's up sitting here at 20 cents, guys. And if you look at these daily candles, right? So if you look at this, Myro absolutely went on a monster run this week. Myro was probably the winner of the week when it came to cryptocurrencies that have absolutely taken the week by storm, right? Myro went on this run. It was all over X. It was all over platforms that, Myro was going on this absolute monster run. It totally took the X news from the microcap space. It took it by storm. And Myro was the winner when it came to the news this week, guys, as far as meme tokens. And guess where it is, guys? Myro is on Solana blockchain. put a video up about why I think Solana is going to absolutely smash its all-time high, in the next bull run. And it's simply by projects like this, right? Projects like this that are absolutely moving on the Solana blockchain, guys. But Myro definitely went on a monster run this week. So if you're not looking at Myro, go ahead and take a look at it. This thing is gaining holders, it's gaining market cap, and it flew off the charts this week. So one of the other stories that gained some publicity and some talking points this week was Trump came out and said, President, elect or Republican candidate Trump came out and said that if he was elected president, that there would be no way that he would allow a CBDC to be implemented under his watch, right? So huge news. It was big news for a lot of people. And then the debate started to happen back and forth on whether or not the president actually could dictate whether or not the United States had a CBDC or didn't have a CBDC, which ended up being an interesting debate back and forth. And I think it's one of these things that, going into the election year that we have to really start to figure out and work through is with these politicians, they say things, but do they really have the power to do what they say? And can they really implement what they're saying that they believe in or don't believe in, right? There's key factors here, whether or not the president has the ability to implement it, to make these guarantees, or doesn't have the ability to make these guarantees. I don't know that. That's all wrapped up in legislation and law. It's definitely something that we should figure out, as these guys make these statements that they would never implement a CBDC under their watch. But definitely, we know that Trump does not want a CBDC and will fight it if become president. So gained some news this week. So we cover another story that has gained some traction here, but definitely not as much traction as it should. Chainlink has actually integrated USDC into its CCIP upgrade, which allows USDC to be traded across platforms and also, in private and public blockchain sectors. So with the CCIP upgrade and the integration of USDC into its ecosystem, into Chainlink's ecosystem, gives a stable coin the ability to really run through this ecosystem as a stable coin and allow people to transact on the interoperability factor of USDC. And all of this stuff is done behind the scenes so that merchants and retailers and everybody else doesn't even need to know how all of this stuff works behind the background. But USDC is the token, the first one being integrated into the CCIP upgrade for Chainlink. And what did that do for Chainlink? As you guys can see, Chainlink absolutely went nuts over the past week here. This is this week right here. We're looking at the weekly chart. This is this week's candle right here. As you guys can see, it wicked right out all the way up. It's sitting at $15.39 at this moment as a recording of this video. Did break that $16 mark earlier in the week. So upon this news, it did get a massive run up to the upside when it came to Chainlink. And this news breaking. So Chainlink definitely with a CCIP upgrade and integrating USDC has definitely taken a big step forward in rolling out the tokenized assets and the interoperability blockchain upgrades that they are working. And with the last story of the week, guys, as anybody would have anticipated, a story came out that the SEC is going to delay the approval of Fidelity spot Ethereum ETF. So, much anticipated with this. I don't think that the SEC is ready to really roll out these Ethereum ETFs yet. Fidelity's ETF wasn't slated for review until August of this year anyways. But definitely they have delayed that. We'll see where this spot Ethereum ETF is shaken out. But Fidelity was one of the last ones to put their application in for the spot Ethereum ETF. But definitely the SEC has decided to delay this. I would expect some more delays coming from the other people that have applied for spot Ethereum ETFs. I don't think that the SEC is going to roll this thing out in in a very quick manner, guys. So definitely pay attention to what's going on in the spot Ethereum ETF market. But the first one's not slated to be reviewed until May of this year, 2024. Anyway, so there's some time to figure. So with that, guys, there's the news for the week. There's everything that I think was important for the week. Everything that I felt was of top news priority in the cryptocurrency world for this week. So with that, guy, go ahead, give me a like, give me a share. Go ahead and give me a sub. We try to do this every Sunday. We just give you guys a quick overview of some of the stories that have dominated the week. But with that, guys, you guys have a great Sunday. Watch some football, kick back, and we'll do this thing again next Sunday. Plus, make sure you guys tune in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to the YouTube channel where we break all this stuff down every morning. Plus, go into some actual cryptocurrency plays where the market is. Talk about getting ready for trading for that day. Go ahead and tune in 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So with that, you guys have a great day, and I will catch you guys on the next one.